I looked up the definition.
Oh, that, and then it was easy, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so for question 51 through 56, for 51, you may see that I put here that they did not accept the word evaporate or precipitate. This is not the textbook, but that's why. So it was asking, let me find the question, sorry, I should have been prepared.
I put the water evaporated.
That's perfect. Yeah, so it says identify one process that formed rock salt in the shallow inland sea. And I don't believe, did they tell you in the reading?
Oh, no, my sister saw.
No.
Oh, it did, it actually did. It said, the rock layer of salt formed after parts of New York State were covered by a shallow inland sea, which eventually evaporated, the end, sorry, that's it, yeah, so the water evaporated. You could not write the word evaporate, which, by the way, where is that coming from? So rock salt is a sedimentary rock, and in the comments here, it says it's crystals from chemical precipitates and evaporate, which means it is the result of water evaporating. So they wanted a process, which is evaporation. In the reading, it told you when this happened, during which time period was the rock salt at the surface of the bedrock formed. And it did tell you Syracuse area. Where was it? Sorry, it's in there somewhere. Or maybe it's not.
I don't think it is.
Not. Okay, so then how do we figure this one out?
Reference table.
Reference table.
Oh, the reference table, but I got it wrong.
You got it wrong, so let's figure it out.
That's the dinosaur
So,
page.
yeah, you shouldn't go to the dinosaur page, I don't think. I think you go here. There's Syracuse. Syracuse has the lines. The lines is Silurian. So the bedrock at Syracuse, which is the salt formed during the Silurian period. Name and identify the mineral that is halite. And then it asks for uses, which again is on the back. So you could have done this a couple different ways. You started off with here's rock salt. There's what it's made out of, halite. So you didn't have to memorize anything. But then you did have to flip to the back page that told you halite is a food additive or it melts ice. And that's where I got it from. And then 54, describe one negative environmental effect that results from the mining of salt in Syracuse. So this one you had to kind of think of on your own, like what would be a negative thing that would happen because of mining? I wrote deforestation, pollution, loss of habitat for animals. Did anybody put something that you're wondering could be right? Because this is not the only right answer. Would you write? Yeah, depletion of natural resources. That's a negative. Anybody else? What did you put? Huh? That's not going to be a negative impact on the environment.
I put pollution.
Oh, you put pollution. Okay. Then why didn't you say that?
I did.
Oh, okay. Sarah, what did you put?
I said like the burning of trees and then pollution.
Anybody else? What did you guys put? What'd you put? Pollution. Yeah. Okay. All right. All those work. Perfect. And then 55 does ask, identify the date of the sunrise position when the insolation from the noontime sun will be most intense. So it's most intense during summer, which is this one right there. So June 21st. You could have also said position A, which is labeled June 21st. You got so this in this case, they really had nothing to do with the picture. They told you this is where the sun is rising, but during the question they asked about the noontime sun. So most intense happens when the sun is more directly overhead, and know that it is most intense on the first day of summer. And then 56 asked when the shadow will be the shortest, and it's shortest when it's highest in the sky. But because they asked for a time, I believe.
Yeah.
where is it? Identify the time of day. So you couldn't answer it when the sun is highest in the sky. You had to answer it with a time. So I could have taken noon or solar noon or 12 p.m. Guys, remember that noon is p.m. and midnight is a.m. If you messed that up, I would have had to mark it wrong. Yeah, it is tricky. It's just keep in mind that noon is the start of the PMs and midnight is the start of the AMs. It's when they,
It's like afternoon.
yeah, afternoon, so that's the PM.
If it's in the middle of the night, it's the middle of the night, actually like that.
I think about that too, cause it's like 12 a.m. actually morning.
Oh,
'Cause it's
yes,
not AM.
technically, guys, let's
It's
not
okay.
hurt our brains. Let's not hurt our brains. I hate to do that. 57. State a general relationship between the planet's distance from the sun and the period of revolution. Use your reference table. You don't have to do this off the top of your head. Notice as we get farther from the sun, what happens to the period of revolution? They get longer. So it had to say something like the greater the distance, the longer it takes to revolve.
Could I say it increases as the distance from the sun increases?
Yes, perfect. Anything that says something like that. Anybody want to read me
Oh, I
theirs?
wanna see what I put.
Okay, well, let's see. That's what we're doing
We're
here.
gonna find out.
Jeff, hurry up, okay? We don't have time.
Where the planet is from the sun longer, takes to make a lot of movement.
Sounds perfect. Anybody else? All right, then it came to question 58, which no, it's mine. Sorry, I dropped it. Identify one terrestrial planet and one Jovian planet represented in the diagram. And you got to that and you're like, well, what the heck is a terrestrial planet and what the heck is a Jovian planet? Sarah said, did you just Google it?
Yep.
Yep, that was a good way to solve that dilemma of not knowing. But why don't we grab our packets and turn them to page 28 and let's officially take those notes. So it's page 28 in your Earth Science packet. It's the one that says our solar system.
How did you expect this to know?
I did it,
Oh.
this one. So it is page 28. It has no label on it. So find the page that has our solar system at the top. To be honest, I thought we did this when we did the heliocentric and geocentric, but apparently we did not. I think that's what happened. Not a big deal. It's just some quick vocab words. Because once you have the definition, that question was super easy. So we're gonna start with right here. So first of all, the word terrestrial. Have you heard the word terrestrial
Yeah,
before?
extraterrestrial, that means out of Earth.
Yeah, so E.T., like the movie E.T., E.T. is the alien. So extraterrestrial means out of Earth, like an alien. So when we're just plain old terrestrial, it means Earth-like. Jovian are the planets that are not like Earth. So to be a little more specific, what does it mean to be Earth-like? It means they are the rocky planets. They're the ones that are solid ground beneath your feet.
Jovian is gas.
Jovian is gas. So the 4 planets closest to the sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, they're the terrestrial planets. Jovian planets, these are the gas giants. They're the 4 outer planets. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Page 28. When you're done writing this, let's grab our reference tables and open them up to page 15 so we can kind of compare the terrestrial and Jovian planets.
You know, if we ever had to move off of Earth, we'd move to Mars.
Exactly. So we could not live on the Jovian planets. They're gas. Like, you can't stand on gas.
So why is it a big circle? And keep
Because
that
gravity still holds it together.
I hate.
They could just like go right through it.
In theory.
I wanna go through it.
Yeah, you'd probably die.
You would,
If you had space it on.
maybe, I don't know. I would like you to go exploring and first send a robot, but make sure you mention me when you become famous.
I'm trying not to do that.
Okay.
Don't worry, Mrs. Flowers.
Okay. Remember me when you're famous.
Leave that. leave that.
I will.
Alright, again, guys, when you're done writing, grab your reference table.
I'll still mention you in my B-reels.
Yeah, I just commented on yours.
I saw.
Still don't know what that is.
From Jupiter.
Good.
Still don't even know that.
So here is the reference table I wanted you to look at. So again, the terrestrial planets are the 4 inner planets that are like Earth. So let's figure out what about them is Earth-like. So again, we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are terrestrial. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are Jovian. Take a look at their stats. Take a look at this reference table. What things are earthy, Earth-like for the terrestrial? What similarities and differences? Okay, let's first look at the density.
Wow.
For the terrestrial, you see, they all have densities higher, like they're all 3.9 and above. The Jovian go from 0.7 to 1.8. So the terrestrial have a higher density, which makes sense because what are terrestrial planets made out of? Rocks. What are Jovian planets made out of? Gas. Aren't rocks more dense than a pile of gas?
They probably stink.
Well, it depends on what gases they're made out of. They're not necessarily made out of farts.
Ew.
Baked cookies, that's a gas smell as well, so,
My house always smells
mine does not.
Mine does
Mine
not.
more smells like fart. Oh.
Ew.
The dogs, they're stinky.
Are you sure it's not
Ew.
you, Miss Rose?
No, not sure. Anyway, what else is different between the terrestrial and the Jovian? What? The masses, take a look at those masses. Earth, so these are measured in Earths, by the way. So Earth is the heaviest and everybody else is way less dense, or way less heavy. Mars is only 0.06 Earth. So it's like not even a little bit of Earth. But then when we get down to Jupiter and above, Jupiter is 317.83 Earth. Everybody else is a lot heavier than Earth. And as long as we're at it, if you haven't noticed, the diameters. Again, Earth is the biggest out of the 4 terrestrial planets. Look how much bigger the Jovians are.
Jupiter's pretty chunky.
Jupiter's freaking massive. It's 142,984 kilometers wide. Whereas Earth's not even,
How big is a kilometer?
a kilometer is a little less than a mile.
Um,
So it's a kilometer is 1,000 meters thick. But it's big.
yeah,
So, that's
a lot.
a lot bigger. Like, I can't do that math right now. That's just a lot. End of story, it's a lot
How
bigger.
big is
But
5, 6
are there do the terrestrial versus Jovian, does that have anything to do with their eccentricities? No, they're not connected. Same with their period of revolution or rotation, that's not connected. But speaking of one of the questions, which was, we already did this, didn't we? Yeah, question 57 was, does the period of revolution and distance from the sun have an effect on each other? So you should have noticed as you got farther from the sun, the period of revolution took longer, which that makes sense. If a planet was really close to the sun, it's got like a really short path to go around. But if it's really far away from the sun, it's got a bigger path to take. So obviously the little path is going to be faster to go around than a big giant path around the sun. All right, so sorry to be jumping around, but go back to your homework.
Or
Yep, back to your homework, because we were going over that. Question 58, you wouldn't have known until today, and I abbreviated these guys. This is a terrestrial, are the Earth-like guys. So Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The Jovian are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. You only needed one of those. Then question 59, explain why this diagram represents the heliocentric. So you could have said something like the sun is the center, or you could have written the planets revolve around the sun. Then question 60 says, state one possible distance from the sun in millions of kilometers in which the asteroid belt can be found. So they told you right here that the asteroid belt, and they labeled it asteroid belt, is between Mars and Jupiter. So your distance for the asteroid belt could have been anything between Mars's distance, which is 227.9,
I put it right in the middle.
and Jupiter's, which is 778.4.
So I
So your
divided.
number had to be in between those two numbers, but not equal to either one of them. So you could not have the answer of
Wow.
227.9. You could not have the answer of 778.4, but literally any number in
So you
between.
could have 778.3.
Correct.
I have 550.5.
That sounds perfect. Would you have?
329.
Perfect. Any answer in between, but not equal to these numbers. Anybody else not sure if their answer would have been good? And then they asked for question 61, calculate how many times greater Mercury's density is than Neptune. So Mercury has a density of 5.4. Neptune has a density of 1.8. How did you go about figuring this
Oh,
out?
you're kidding me. I accidentally typed in Uranus.
Oh, yeah, typing in Uranus will have a big problem.
4.1.
Oops,
1.4.
1.8 equal 3. It is
Yeah.
3 times greater. If you didn't know to divide, you could have taken 1.3, which, I'm sorry, 1.8.
Did you have to?
Nope, it is labeled, because if you had used your answer sheet, it did say times greater, so you didn't have to worry about units. But if you weren't sure about the whole dividing thing, you could have tried multiplying. You could have said, okay, is it 2 times as great? So you take 1.8 and multiply it by 2. That gets you 3.6. We're not quite to 5.4 yet. So you try 1.8 times 3, and you get the 5.4. So you could have just done trial and error to
You can only
see.
put 1.3.
Oh,
I
you
even put the line-
delinquent.
Oh, it's because I accidentally put the line next to it.
Yep.
The wrong one.
I
Yep.
got it 100%.
Nice work. Okay, you guys have homework tonight. Now, this time, you are going to need your answer sheet. For all of you who have been fighting me on the answer sheet, the reason you need it is because there's 2 graphs. And you can't draw a graph without the graph paper. So they're already there for question 66 and 67. Oh, yeah, we are going that high. So you're doing 62 through 72. Another 10 questions. Yep. And while we're talking about, so that's tomorrow, that's due tomorrow. I'm checking it tomorrow. But I want to tell you guys, the other thing that's happening tomorrow is we were chosen, we were the lucky school to be chosen to do what's called a field test for the region. The field test is basically, they're testing the region. So they're going to have some questions. It's not a whole test, but they're going to have some questions that would appear on a Regents exam. And they're going to have you guys take the test. And they're gonna see if those are good questions or not. And this is how they will either take them off of some future exams or they'll curve a future exam because of the results that you guys do. So what do you need to do? So first of all, I want to tell you, don't panic. Yes, you have a test tomorrow. Treat it like a practice test. So you're going to take it, you're going to take it seriously, but if you don't know something, don't panic about it. I don't actually even grade these. I don't even look at your answers when you're done. So yes, of course, you could just BS your way through it, but at this point, when we only have, tomorrow we only have 10 classes left, might as well take it seriously. And then if there is a question that like, you're like, Ms. Ritz, I don't get that, I'm gonna take note of it and make sure that we go over it next week. if you're not here, no worries, you don't have to make it up. So if you do not come to school tomorrow for whatever reason, it's the best day, I guess, to miss. So you won't be missing anything in this class. Again, take it seriously, but don't panic about it. It's not a grade. But if you do get the test and you're like, holy cow, I can't do this stuff, which you would have already known because we've done other practice tests now. But if you get there, then it will be your clue that you need to do some reviewing on your own.
Probably.
Okay, so if you do go with Mr. D to take a test, you'll go to his room tomorrow. He'll have it there ready for you. If you stay here with me, you'll take it here with me. And, oh, I should say, if you don't finish it, nobody cares. So it's not like you're gonna have to make it up later in the day. Okay? Don't panic, but please take it seriously. Questions? Lab practical is coming up. Again, if you take tests with Mr. D, he will have your schedule officially, I think, tomorrow, but don't quote me on that. It'll either be tomorrow or Tuesday. And so for anyone who just takes their test with me, you will be doing their test, the lab practical during your lab period, either Monday or Tuesday, June 5th or 6th, which guys, that's a week from Monday. If you are an ACE lab period people, you have today and one more day next week. So just, what would that be? You only have Tuesday, I think? Yeah, because you won't be here Thursday next week. Also, do you guys know you guys don't have school on Thursday next week from today? It's June 1st. Okay.
How do they expect us to come? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not Thursday?
No, you're not coming Monday,
Oh yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Friday. Because you only will have 9 days of school left then. So you can suck it up for those 9 days. That's how they expect. If you skip them, know that you're going to be skipping review for your finals and your regents. It's probably not your best choice. But if you choose to skip them, it's on you. Any other questions? All right, then we should probably finish up as long as we've got this packet open. Let's go ahead and get the rest of the notes on this page. So just a few more vocab words. So starting off with, you see where it says asteroid BE? Right below where we just wrote? Can you add an LT to that? It should say asteroid belt. Not asteroid BE. You see that, Jeff, where it says you're in your packet now? It says asteroid BE. Yeah, can you please change that to asteroid belt, BELT? And then see how there's no lines there? So whatever happened to the L and the T took the lines with it. I don't know where they went. And this is where it's screwed up. Jeff, not perfect, it's better than most. So what is the asteroid belt? All you need to know about the asteroid belt is it is located between Mars and Jupiter. And it's composed of thousands of asteroids, which are basically rocks.
Is that the thing we were looking at?
Yeah.
One question.
It couldn't have said it better myself. And again, what's a belt is something that goes around something else. So it's a bunch of asteroids that go around the sun. Mathematically, it's located where another planet would be. So there's a theory that there was a planet there and it got broken apart. Or maybe it, could have exploded, could have gotten broken apart, or maybe it didn't have enough gravity to hold all its pieces together. There's all sorts of theories of what happened there. What do you guys need to know? You need to know it's there. And I guess technically you don't even need to know. Think back to that question we just went over. They told you where it was on that path, on that question. And you just needed to think about it. Just know that it exists.
This was, you forgot something very important.
I'm afraid to ask, Jeff.
There's no acid on the asteroid.
Is there not?
And that kind of doesn't make any sense. Located between Mars and Jupiter is composed of.
Asteroid belt is located between Mars and Jupiter. It is composed of thousands
Composed of thousands.
Okay, I always try to save you as much writing as possible. All right, so that's an asteroid belt. Now we're going to talk about a meteor, meteorite, and comet. So we're going to start with a meteor. You know those shooting stars that they say when you make a wish upon a shooting star? Be blind, it's not a shooting star. It's a meteor, which is basically just a chunk of rock that is going through our atmosphere. So it's a rock that's going so fast, there's so much friction. So you know when you rub your hands together and they get warm? Well, it's doing that, going through our atmosphere and creating so much friction that it lights up. And it looks like a shooting star, but it's not a star, it's a rock. Now a meteorite, huh?
There's no such thing.
No.
as a shooting star.
No.
That's fine.
I know. Well, all those wishes, they could still be wishes, it's just not a star, it's a meteor. So it just doesn't sound as cool to say make a
real
wish
shooting
upon a
star.
meteor. Doesn't have the same ring to it.
The new life.
Whoever told you that.
I wouldn't tell you that.
This was how you always say the shooting star.
I have.
Did you make a wish? Did you tell your kids it was a shooting star?
No, I wouldn't. No, don't lie to my kids like that. You know, have you ever heard like the thunderstorms are like the angels rolling and stuff?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't make lies like that either. I explain exactly what's happening. And they also,
Mother Nature's crying.
yeah, no, none of that BS.
Oh,
Explain all the whole science.
Have you ever watched a meteor shower?
Yes,
They're pretty cool. In person?
all right, so a meteorite is nothing more than when those meteors, those shooting stars, they actually make it through the atmosphere and hit Earth. The most famous meteor is more than likely the one that is suspected of killing the dinosaurs. So it was a giant rock that came through Earth's atmosphere and hit Earth's surface. But it wasn't the hitting that killed the dinosaurs. It was the dust and the smoke that was created when that did hit.
Kind of like how people die in a fire from most of the smoke when people think it's a fire all the time. But it's more likely than smoke. They can't breathe.
Say it again.
People die more from the smoke in a fire than they do.
Yes,
from the fire
yes,
itself.
yes, like that. So what really happened is that dust, dirt, debris went up into the atmosphere and it blocked the sun from getting down to Earth. And if there's no sun coming in, then plants can't grow. And if plants can't grow, then animals can't eat the plants, so they die. And then the animals who eat other animals die because there's no living animals for them to eat. So it causes all of everybody to die and go extinct.
It's not a-
Finally, the last one's a comet, and that is a huge, dirty ice ball that revolves around the sun. When it comes close enough to the sun, what happens is that ice starts to melt and it gets what looks like a tail. The most famous comet is probably Halley's
Halley's
Comet, which goes, I believe it revolves around the sun every 72 years. We can see it. Don't quote me on that number, but I think it's right. So then it goes around the sun, but because everything that goes around the sun has a slightly elliptical orbit, comets are actually very elliptical, so they're very ovally. So when it goes around the sun, sometimes it's really close to the sun and sometimes it's much further away.
It's
So those times when it's close, the comet actually starts to melt a little bit and it gets what looks like a tail. And this is supposed to be my lovely drawing.
Visible to us right now.
No, we can't see Halley's Comet right now, but I believe it is coming around soon. That's something we would ask Google shortly. There was a really famous comet when I was your age called the comet Hale-Bopp. And
Ew.
it came around every 300 or maybe even more years. I don't even remember that part because that's not the fun part of the story. So there was this cult that called Heaven's Gate cult, and they believed that Halley's Comet was not a comet at all. It was their alien spaceship coming to rescue them from Earth and take them away before all of Earth was doomed. And unfortunately, the easiest way to catch a spaceship that's traveling around the sun is, of course, to drink poisoned Kool-Aid and kill yourself
What?
so that you could hop on to, Haley, or Hale-Bopp.
Sounds like
Yep,
somebody.
so
planned
it
that.
was a giant cult and, it was in several locations around the country and they basically did a mass suicide to go hop on this counter.
Sounds pretty.
Who even
planned.
comes up with this
A cult,
idea?
cult leaders.
Sounds like this.
And then
something
it's
you-
like-
End of story, please, cults are bad, don't join a cult.
What if it wasn't like, what if they just did it to get people to kill themselves?
Hard to say. But back to this. What does a meteor, meteorite, comets, and asteroid all have in common?
They all.
Right.
No,
They're all.
but where in outer space? Because they're not just randomly. Where are they?
In orbit.
In orbit around what?
The sun.
The sun. These are all part of our solar system. Why are they part of our solar system? Because they revolve around the sun. So moving on from our solar system, if we go on to the next page, is talking about a galaxy.
Don't exist.
Okay. So have you heard this statement, in a galaxy far, far away? You heard that before? Okay, I don't know which one of those space movies that is, because I am not the space movie kind of person. I'll just take your word for it. But in a galaxy far, far away, what does that imply about galaxies? How many are there?
Far away.
A lot of.
A lot of them. There's at least more than one. If it's in a
Milky
galaxy
Way.
far, far away, it means there's at least more than one. There are a lot of galaxies. And they are far, far away from us. Our galaxy is called, like you guys keep shouting out, the Milky Way. So we're gonna start there. So a galaxy is a system that includes billions of stars, planets, moons, and other space matter. So we, like you guys said, the name of our galaxy is the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a galaxy, which means it includes billions and billions of stars. And all the planets, and all the moons, and all the other space junk that goes with those other solar systems and stars. So a galaxy is made up of a whole bunch of stuff. We live in one called the Milky Way.
Wait, so there's people on different galaxies?
So I didn't say there's people on different
What
galaxies.
about?
I did, however, say a couple days, you might have been absent then, is yes, there are other planets around other suns. There are lots of planets. We have not explored all of the planets that are out there
That's
in the
crazy.
other galaxies.
There could be a whole nother world
There
out there.
could be multiple whole other worlds.
There's a-
Not saying there is. Please don't go home and say Mrs. Rich says there's aliens.
Is there people?
I need to go into NASA.
So as far as we currently know, there is no other life anywhere else. But that is not saying there is no life anywhere else.
I'll be the one to discover it.
Okay, so all I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
you can actually.
as far as we know, there are not. So now I ask, what kind of galaxy do we live in? And we live in what's called a spiral galaxy. And I put that picture there below, so you might be able to get the hint of why it's called a spiral galaxy. So here is a spiral galaxy. So notice it's going around in a spiral. So this is what the Milky Way would look like if you could get far enough from the Milky Way and look down on it, it would look like this. If you could get far enough away and look at it from the side, it would look like this one. Where is sun on this? The sun's right about there. One of those tiny specks right there, the sun, because it's labeled sun.
Who
So-
labeled that?
I did label it, I stole it from somewhere.
Who said?
The key is that the sun is not in the center.
What's in the nucleus?
I'm not actually sure, I believe there's a black hole in there somewhere, but not the point, not the point, we have to stop, we have to move on. So what do you need to know for the regions is that the sun is over here in one of the arms. In other words, it's not the center. So the sun is the center of our solar system, but our solar system is not the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So I know a couple of you said you didn't get the rest of this, so it does say, what kind of galaxy did we live in? That was a spiral galaxy. You need to write that down.
No.
Okay, and then where is our sun located? It is in one of the spiral arms. Nope. So we've talked about our solar system, we've talked about the galaxy, we're moving on to the universe. The solar system is just our sun, the planets that go with the sun, the asteroids, the meteors, the comets. The universe is lots of that, or I'm sorry, the galaxy is lots of that, so then what the heck is the universe?
Lots of galaxies.
Lots of galaxies, so the universe includes everything that exists. Which then you ask yourself, well, how did it form? And it formed from the Big Bang Theory.
Isn't that a show?
It is a show.
Go about it. Is it about the universe or no?
The Big Bang Theory, the television show, is a bunch of scientists that are working on explaining the actual Big Bang Theory, because we know that an explosion happened. And how do we know this explosion happened? Because we can see that the universe is still expanding. So think about the Big Bang. What do you think a Big Bang was?
An explosion from a sensor.
So what it was, yeah, it's a Big Bang. It's basically a big explosion. What happened is about 15 million years ago, a massive explosion took place. And this started the formation of the universe.
Do you believe in the theory that like everything's gonna go back together one day?
That's what the science leads you to believe, yeah. So I believe in science, so yeah.
Science big.
No. But unfortunately, again, we don't have time to get into that. But when you picture an explosion, it can even be a cartoon explosion. What happens during an explosion?
Blows up.
It blows up and it like goes out, right? That's what's still happening with the Big Bang, is that they can still see that explosion is still causing things to separate. And then going back to what Felicia said, if you can again picture an explosion, what happens when everything goes out? It all collapses back in on each other. So that is, again, what could happen with the Big Bang Theory. We're gonna talk tomorrow about how we know the universe is still expanding. Actually, we're not gonna talk tomorrow about it, because tomorrow we're taking that field test. Tomorrow, no homework tomorrow, but due tomorrow is question 62 through 72.
The field test is just for the class.
It's for all of my classes, but just for earth science, yeah, but that's what you,
Yeah.
so it's not just your period, it's all of my, Mr. Miga, but that, yeah. So tonight's homework is 62 through 72.